They called him the guardian of the dead, the jackal-headed god who watched over tombs, guided souls through the underworld, and weighed the hearts of kings and commoners alike. With the calm authority of a cosmic judge, Anubis was more than myth. He was a symbol of power, protection, and transition. His story is darker, deeper, and far more fascinating than it first appears. Here are 10 essential truths that reveal who he was and why he still matters. First, his birth. Anubis was the son of Nephthys and Osiris, conceived in secrecy and hidden at birth to escape the anger of Set. Isis found the infant and raised him as her own, turning betrayal into compassion. From that moment on, Anubis stood at the crossroads of loyalty and deception, shaped to guard the threshold between life and what lies beyond. Second, his post at that threshold. To the ancient Egyptians, death was not an ending but a journey, and Anubis stood at the first gate. He never ruled Duat, he navigated it, every soul that stepped onto its sand. Dark riverbanks felt his presence, steady, silent, unwavering, like a lighthouse on a shore of eternal night. Third, the craft he gave to humanity. When Osiris was murdered and his body scattered, Anubis gathered the fragments, wrapped them in linen, and spoke the words that would bind flesh to spirit. In that moment, mummification was born. By teaching mortals to preserve the body, he preserved identity and offered hope that death was a transformation, not oblivion. Fourth, his guidance through Duat. The underworld was no restful sleep. It was a maze of trials, serpents, and fire lakes. Anubis led the dead through every peril, carrying their hearts to the hall of truth. He was the psychopomp, the silent promise that no traveler walked the dark alone. Fifth, the weighing of the heart. At the center of Duat, a single scale weighted. On one pan rested a feather of Maat, on the other, the crimson heart of the deceased. If that heart was heavier than truth, it vanished in the jaws of Amit. If it was light, the soul stepped into eternal fields of reeds. Anubis did not condemn or absolve. He simply kept the balance, ensuring that justice, not power, determined destiny. Sixth, his vigilance over the resting dead. Grave robbers threatened more than treasure. They threatened the very future of the soul. Anubis became the sentinel of tombs, carved on sarcophagi and painted above sealed doorways, ears pricked for footsteps that should never echo in sacred corridors. Even today, museum coffins bear his black form, still guarding the peace of those who sleep inside. Seventh, his struggle with chaos. When Set shattered order by murdering Osiris, Anubis stood between restoration and ruin. He hid the body, protected the ritual, and in some legends, fought Set himself. Without Anubis, Osiris would never have risen, and the divine balance would have broken like papyrus in a flood. Eighth, the tale that shows his humanity. In the story of Anubis and his brother Bata, deception wounds their bond, but truth and loyalty heal it. The god of the dead becomes a loving sibling, seeking justice, forgiveness, and ultimately, redemption. The myth reminds us that Egypt's gods were never distant. They echoed the hopes and failings found in every human heart. Ninth, the bond between Anubis and ordinary people. He appeared everywhere in daily life, etched on amulets, whispered in prayers, inked in spells, slipped between wrappings. For the farmer as much as for the pharaoh, Anubis meant security, a quiet assurance that when breath failed and the desert wind closed your eyes, someone waited to guide you home. 10th, the reason he endures. Unlike kings who built empires or gods who hurled thunder, Anubis neither conquered nor created. He watched, guided, and protected. He reminds us that even in darkness there is order, Even in death, there is care, and even in myth, there is truth. Jackal eyes still gleam from temple walls. His sleek black silhouette still walks modern art, video games, and inked skin, reminding us that respect for death is respect for life. If this journey through shadow leaves you hungry for more, subscribe to Dark Age Mythology for fresh explorations of gods, monsters, and legends. Your support keeps these ancient voices alive. And if you listened to the end, your heart is probably light enough to pass any test the afterlife can offer. See you in the next story.